After 100 days, the first yajna conducted by Swami Chinmayananda would end as a grand success on April 8, 1952. He was only 36. Here are some excerpts from those 100 days as Swamiji fine-tuned the program continuously. Meditation and japa were introduced so that the audience's mind could be brought to a calm state. The practice of Akhanda Nama Kirtana, or continuous singing of the Lord's name around the clock, was also introduced. Swamiji prepared a detailed schedule of chanters with the names and times when they would chant. Between 2 and 4 a.m., there were no volunteers who signed up, so Swamiji himself would chant then. He did everything in perfection and showed others when needed. For example, he would ensure that there was always the right amount of oil in the lamp. He showed you how to put dry camphor powder on the wick of the lamp so it would light easily. At the midpoint of the yajna, he introduced a 4-day Vaidika Havana and explained in detail the meaning of the rituals. And to the utter shock of the priests, people of all castes and creeds and gender were allowed to attend. He was the personification of discipline. Each day, exactly 10 minutes before the talk, he would start from the house where he was staying and march towards the Yajnashala. Straight and tall, he would walk in a dignified manner, and yet at such a speed that the crowd could not keep up with him without running. If he was even 30 seconds early, he would walk around the venue, and this way he made sure that he entered the dais exactly on time. And if there was a disturbance during a talk, he would become completely silent or make a striking remark to send a clear message that quietude was very important to focus the mind on the deep subject at hand. And when asked about this, he would say, "The Yajnashala is my puja room. The audience is my Ishvara, whom I worship for 1.5 hours." He went everywhere on foot. Even in the hot sun, he would walk long distances for bhiksha, no matter how far away the house was from the Yajnashala. He had a small metal trunk, or a briefcase, with the words "Divine Mission" on it. He would take down the address of every single person who visited him and make a card. He would alphabetically arrange these cards in the trunk. Writing each address in his own hand, he would send the Yajna Prasad, which is a summary of each talk, to everyone. The first 2 copies were always mailed to Swami Shivananda and Swami Tapovanam. And at the end of the yajna, he would walk up and down the aisles with a kalasha in hand and sprinkle Ganga Jala on all those who had gathered. It was a sight for the gods to see. With the sunset for a backdrop, a tall, splendid orange-clad figure walking erect through the chanting crowd, sprinkling Ganga Jal on all. The second yajna was slated for Madras in April 1953. Swamiji ran into thick resistance from the Brahmin priests. Every day he would walk to various temples to obtain a location for the yajna, but they wouldn't allow him to talk on the scriptures, especially in English. The response was always no. A letter written to his cousin Bhaskara reveals his sentiment at that time. "There is neither any funds, nor men to work, nor a place to stay, nor a site to conduct the yajna. All that I have is the extra responsibility of a cumbersome and vast-looking committee, stiff opposition from the orthodoxy, and hesitation, idleness, idiocy, and madness in all of them. But faith is a miracle maker. I have still faith, undaunted faith, and I am sure I will face it all, and from the very teeth of this opposition, I am going to fulfill the work of the Upanishad saints. Nobody can stop this work now. It must and will go on. Finally, a Muslim friend who had a large vacant old palace offered the use of his property for 41 days. But there was a catch. The Arni palace was haunted. There were ghosts. Swamiji said, "Good. I have never seen a ghost, and this looks like a good opportunity." The first evening, only a handful of listeners showed up. Swamiji reassured his friends, "You have done your part. Now, leave the rest to the Lord." And sure enough, within a week, word had spread like fire, and the halls were filled. The talks had to be moved to the palace grounds outside. The topic was the Mundaka Upanishad, and amongst the attendees was Swamiji's mother. It was one of her proudest moments watching her son carry out the yajna. Chennai devotees arranged a Pada Puja for both Swamiji and his mother. On the last day, Swamiji took out a procession throughout the city with everybody chanting together. And then a spiritual picnic was organized to Rameshwaram, about 200 miles to the south. The group boarded 6 buses. Swamiji wanted to give the group a taste of what renunciation was, and he gave them a list of very minimal things to pack for the trip. Just a couple of months later, the Delhi Yajna would start on September 12, 1953, near Kashmiri Gate. The choice of text this time was the famous Mandukya Karika. The day before the Yajna, Swamiji wrote in his journal, "Just 24 hours remain. A 91-day Yajna with one of the toughest textbooks of Vedanta to explain. Mother Shruti's grace alone is my wealth, my courage, my strength. And if she fails me, why should I worry? She alone fails." Swami Tapovanam sent his blessings. "I hope the Delhi people will be highly benefited by this Jnana Yajna ceremony being conducted," he wrote. And Mother Shruti did not fail Swamiji. She lit his words with wisdom.
Clean outside, purity within. With neck, head and body in one line, held erect. Don't sit down like a question mark to meditate. Not crookedness. Meditation must be in an exclamation mark. I'm going into my own kingdom, my own palace. That way, straight. Held erect in a mental attitude of sannyas, total renunciation. I'm not even a human being. I am a creature. O Lord, thou art my creator. Full stop.
The average daily attendance in Delhi was 800. The Yajna was a huge success. And the next year, the 4th Yajna was in Palghat, Kerala, another successful event that drew massive crowds. On the last day, Swamiji drove through town sprinkling Ganga water. Finally, he led all devotees to perform an Avabrata Snana, bathing in the river. And thus, the Jnana Yajna became a mainstay of Swamiji's work. It started with 1 Yajna in 1952, 2 in 1953, 4 in 54, 8 in 1955, and 10 in 1956. That year, the President of India, Sri Rajendra Prasad himself, had inaugurated the Yajna in Delhi. In just 5 years, Swamiji had attracted 50,000 Indians to these yajnas, and by 1967, he had conducted over 150 yajnas. And over the next 25 years, this number would grow to a staggering 773 jnana yajnas, an impressive achievement just in itself for one lifetime.